Just remember that He lives deep inside. So why should I worry? Why should I fear? When the very same Jesus, He stays always near. He lives in my heart, and He hears when I cry. I'll call on His name till the storm.
It started with the miracle of James and Brenda finding each other again. They met very young and loved each other from the start. But being young, they parted, and it would be many years that James would search for Brenda. One day it happened. By some divine happenings, he found her, and they never parted again. James struggled with back problems for many years, which finally led to surgery, and during this time his spine broke in two. This would lay him up for several years. He could not work to provide for his family. At the same time, Brenda began to hemorrhage, so she could not work either. They turned to God like so many times for guidance and heard the message clearly. They must leave PEI and go to BC. Now in BC for just a few weeks, the phone rang. It was a call from the Halifax hospital saying, "Your son Mike may not live through the night." It was discovered he has a massive tumor on his brain. Brenda and James fell to their knees, heartbroken, and cried out to God, "What are we going to do? We have no money to travel 3,700 miles. It seemed impossible, but with God all things are possible. Before they knew it, the money came in for a one-way trip. They walked in faith, not knowing how they would return back to BC. Again, God spoke and said, "Get on the plane and I will bring you home." It was urgent that they returned back to BC at an appointed time. While visiting Mike at the hospital, James had a vision. James saw the Red Sea and watched as God parted it. In other words, God was showing James, "I will see you through this storm." Spending a few weeks here in PEI, people they did not even know was coming up to them and giving them money. This was amazing to them. The day before they were due back in BC, sitting in a coffee shop knowing they still needed $200 for the plane ticket, a stranger came over to chat with them. They shared their story and the man left. The phone rang and Brenda's friend Joan said, "I am coming to pick you up, and I am told to take you to a certain place I know nothing about." Brenda and James were directed to go to a stranger's house and get something out of their mailbox. It was the $200 they needed for the plane ticket back home. Not very long after this trip, another call came in. It was 1 a.m. when Brenda answered to devastating news. Her daughter Shayna, 25 years of age, had just died. She had been drugged with Oxycontin. Brenda had fell to the floor in shock. At 3 a.m., she says she heard God say, "I will never leave you nor forsake you. I am with you until the end." Then she was given Psalms 23, "The Lord is my shepherd. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever." After hearing Shana had passed, Brenda's heart broke even further, knowing she had unfinished words that needed to be said while Shana was alive. She made her way to the bathroom, sobbing. She needed to make things right. Crying out, she said, "Oh, Shana, I am so sorry, and I love you." Brenda turned around and audibly heard Shana say, "Mom, it's okay. I love you." Not long after Shana's passing, Mike passed away too. He could not fight the cancer any longer. Mike was also 25 years of age. But just hours before his passing, he wanted to be baptized, and so he did. Now coming forward to December 2021, unfortunately Brenda and James both have the COVID-19 virus. Brenda suffers with COPD, so this can be challenging for her. Brenda says, "Oh, but we are not giving up, because He is the same God that put the stars in the heavens, and He is the same God that holds our hands." Let's pray.
Out on the water, storms raging high, the waters around them were troubled that night, and fear filled their hearts, and they thought they would die, but they failed to remember that the Master was nigh, and He spoke the word, and the winds all stood still. Even the waters, they obeyed His will, and He calmed their storms, just like He will mine. If I just remember that He lives deep inside, so why should I worry? And why should I fear? When the very same Jesus, He stays always near. He lives in my heart, and He hears when I cry. I'll call on His name till the storm passes by. We read in the Bible how He walked with them, brought light to their darkness when the way grew so dim. How great it would be to have His steps leading mine, and to walk with the Master all of the time. So when trials come and death is so nigh, I'll just search for the Master. He said He'll be there on time. And when I'm in trouble and my body is in pain, all I have to do is call on His name. Why should I worry? Why should I fear? When the very same Jesus, He stays always passes by.